Welcome, bienvenidos. Today we have two very special bienvenidos guests. First, we have Harry Freeman, chairman for Arundel County Complete County Committee. Together, Harry and I will present this segment.
Our guest is Daniel Jones. Daniel works for the United States Census Bureau as partnership specialist. Daniel organizes meetings and promotes partnership with state, county, and tribal governments, local businesses and community groups, develops presentations, and offers briefings. He also addresses questions, concerns, and issues related to current and potential stakeholders and partners.
Welcome to the show, Daniel, as always. And before we start with our main interview, the main question we always make the first time is, who is Daniel? Where are you from?
All right, yeah, great. Well, first of all, Sergio, Harry, thank you so much for having me here. I am just delighted to be here to talk about the Census Bureau and what we're doing. I'm not sure I want to tell you where I'm from right now because there are so many issues going on with but I'm going to tell you anyway. I am from the Dominican Republic, okay? I haven't, we have issues right now, so I'm not sure I want to go, just do not blame me for anything that's going on. And I'm just delighted to be here. I was raised and born in the Dominican Republic, actually in La Romana, which is about an hour and a half east of the capital, Santo Domingo.
Oh, great. How do you start working with the census?
Well, I began working for the census actually some time ago. This is my second time, my second go around with the Census Bureau. I worked for the census before, and then I went to the private sector, and then decided to come back for the 2020 census and do work again for the Census Bureau. I guess I just love working for the census. I like this work, statistics, the numbers, and just working with people like you, Sergio and Harry. I think that's why I'm back. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. So I'm just delighted to work with you guys. And the census is delighted that you guys are working so hard to promote the census, the 2020 census in this community. So thank you so much for all the work you're doing.
No, thank you for you. And what is the census? What exactly is that mean for a community?
That is a very good question, right? Sometimes we assume that people understand what the census is. And one of the things that I find out is that when I'm in the community, I actually ask that question to people. I say, hey, before I go into talking about the census, I like, hey, what is the census? What do you understand the census to be, right?
Yes.
And you'd be surprised. A lot of people have no idea what the census is, right? So thank you for asking the question. And the census is the way that we count the people who live here in this country, the United States of America. One thing that we must know and we have to understand is that the census is mandated by the U.S. Constitution, which means it's constitutionally mandated. Article 1, Section 2 mandates that the census be taken every 10 years. And there's two main reasons we do a census. One of the reasons is for the allocation of congressional seats, right? That's critical, that's important, because representation in Congress is allocated based on the population. Okay. So how many congressional seats the state of Maryland gets depends on how many people live in the state of Maryland. And then also that's one thing. The next thing is for redistricting purposes, right? There are local elections, there are state seats, and all that. You have to draw those lines based on census data, on census numbers. That is critical. But those are political reasons, if you want to call it that, right? Yeah. But then there are other reasons why we do it. The federal government distributes annually, not every 10 years, but every year, over $675 billion are distributed based on census numbers. So I got to tell you, we can talk about that more. Talk about it more later. Later we can go in depth into how the money is distributed. But it's key to understand that this is very important. We don't do a census just to bother you, or just take 10 minutes of your time and make you uncomfortable. No, it is because this is how this nation makes decisions. This is how the state government makes decisions. This is how the federal government makes decisions. This is how the county makes decisions, right? In terms of school and all that stuff. And again, we'll talk about that later in depth. But it is critical and it is important. It is a civic responsibility. It is constitutionally mandated. But the basic of it is just we got to count everyone but there is a reason why we count it, which I already explained.
How often is a population census conducted?
This is the decennial, which means we do it every 10 years. So we bother you only once every 10 years. So you should be happy to do it.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So you bother us once every 10 years, as you say. When is Census Day, and what are some other important dates that we should be aware of?
That's a great question, Harry. The census date is April 1st, 2020. But I like to go over the timeline,
Okay.
right? Even though Census Day is April 1st, 2020, I want you to understand that we are ready, for the census. We have moved from the planning phase to the execution phase, and the census is here. In fact, August 22nd, we begin what is called address canvassing, which means we have this database of addresses, everyone who lives in this county. So we're going to send people out. They might knock on your door just to make sure someone lives there before we send another questionnaire. But before we send out the postcard that we're going to do in March 2020, we got to make sure that people lives in those homes. So we got to verify those addresses, and we begin that process August 22nd of this year. So I'm going to share with you, Harry, the timeline of the census, right? So March 12, 2020, people in this county and in the nation, and let me say this, about 95% of the people in this nation will receive an invitation in the mail to go online and complete the census form. Right? That's an invitation, the first letter we will send out, right? And then after that, and by the way, that letter will have a code.
Okay.
And that code is for you to, when you go online, to use it. Now, let me just say this. You do not have to use the code, right? You can actually access and complete the questionnaire without the code, but we want you to use the code. And this is why we're sending you a code. It makes it easier for us because that code identifies your household. So please, if you get the code, use the code. Now, if you lose the letter, right? If you lose the letter or do not get one, you can still go online and complete your census form. Not a problem.
There'll be other ways to verify your address, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
There will be other ways that we can verify that you are who you are, that you live in that particular location.
Okay.
But again, when you use the code, we don't have to verify anything. We know that that's you. So help us out, please.
Great.
Let's not add a step to the process. So March 12th, you'll get the first letter on and about March 12, 2020, and then you get a second letter shortly after that. Everyone will get 2 letters, right? Regardless if when you get the first letter you went online and completed the census form, you still get a second reminder. Then there's a third letter that will go out, but this particular letter will only go out to those individuals that up to this point have not completed the census form, right? Just to them. And then after that, we send another letter, again to those individuals. But what is unique about this letter is that included in this letter will be also a census form, which means if you do not want to go online and do it, we actually providing you with a paper form for you during the 4th mailing for you to go ahead and do it. And again, after that, if still you have not taken the time to do it, you will receive a 5th letter, right? This is your last chance for you to go online and get it done. Because after the 5th letter, right, then beginning May 12, 2020, you will get someone coming to your house, right, to get the answers, right, to help you say, hey, what's going on? You need help doing this thing? So after May 12, we begins what is called non-response follow-up.
I see.
And that's when we have enumerators of individuals, again, coming to your house. That's critical. By December 31st, 2020, by that time, we have to present the apportionment counts to the President of the United States. And then by March 31st, 2021, we present the redistricting counts to the states, right? Very critical, very important. Everybody's waiting for that. Now, remember, April 1st, 2020 is Census Day. But I got to tell you something, Harry. The truth is, the census actually officially begins January 22nd, 2020. And it begins there because there is a place in Alaska, I think it's Chukchuka Bay, Alaska. It's a village, right? That in April, when we conduct the census, the village is empty. No one is there. Everybody's going fishing or doing whatever it is that they do at the particular month of the year. So in order for us to be able to count them, we have to conduct the census in January because everybody's there. Right. So because of them, we'll begin actually in January 2020, we'll begin the census, which means our marketing campaign for that part of Alaska will begin in December of this year. So the census is here, people. Let's just get ready.
Now, these forms that you mentioned, for those who the English is not the first language, they have forms in other languages?
That's a good question. Well, so this is what's going to happen actually, and I'm going to explain your question two ways. Now, what's going to happen is for census tracts that have a 25% of more people who speak Spanish, right? That census tract will get the Spanish language form from the start, either during the first mailing, but no later than the fourth mailing. So those census tracts that we have identified are having at least 20% Spanish speakers, we will send the Spanish questionnaire from the beginning. So they won't even have to ask for one. So this is a way that we're doing to ensure that everyone is counted. We want to take all barriers out of the equation. And I want to tell you, the reason the census, by the way, it is much easier now, right, to participate in the census because, yes, you can do it online, right? But a lot of times people say, well, you know what, there's a lot of people, there are communities that face challenges. They have no access to broadband internet connectivity and all this issue. There are rural areas, for example, Harry, where they don't really have access to broadband internet connectivity. So what we've done is we have identified at the Census Bureau those areas, and those areas will actually get a paper questionnaire from the beginning. So they won't even have to worry about that. But let's just say you don't want to do the census online. I mean, obviously we do want you to do it online because if you do it online, that means we'll save money, which is your money as taxpayers, right? We want to save you money. So that's why we want you to do it online. But if you do not want to do it online, guess what? Sergio and Harry, you guys don't have to do it online, right? You can actually call and do it over the phone if you want to do the census over the phone, right? And if you don't want to do it over the phone, then you can do the paper form. Either way, you can simply call and request a paper form, or you can just do it over the phone and it's fine. So you have 3 ways of doing the census, and it's very easy. So you have no excuses or no excuse not to do the census because it's easy, about 10 minutes, and it's easy to do, and it's great. Now, to continue answering your questions about languages, we have questionnaire assistants in 12 different languages. This is people they can call and get help in 12 different languages, right? And we also have 59 language guide in 59 different languages. Okay. So those guys can help you with the questionnaire, or in some other language, if we're talking about the 12 languages, you can actually call in and get help over the phone with those questionnaires. And for those who speak Spanish, if you are in a census tract where 20% speak Spanish, then we'll go ahead and send you a Spanish questionnaire from the beginning.
So you mentioned 3 ways: telephone, online, which should be the most popular method.
We hope so.
We hope so.
We hope so.
And also the paper form. And all 3 of those will have language assistance. So each way to fill out this form will have that different language assistance, correct? All 3?
That is correct, yes.
Perfect.
Yes, either way you call. I mean, we honestly, Harry, we want to make this simple. We want to make it easy. We want people to be counted. I mean, this is just a piece of cake. I mean, come on, this is just beautiful. So we hope everyone just do it in this county. We want every single person in this county to be counted. Every single, and we mean that. I want people, sometimes people say, hey, I don't know, the census don't want to count everyone. Hey, let me tell you, if we didn't want to count everyone, here's the thing. We wouldn't bother to having you to do it online. We wouldn't bother with having the paper form or doing it over the phone. And if we didn't care, we wouldn't send someone to your house to get those answers, okay? But if you don't want somebody to come to your house, please just go ahead and get it done. As soon as you get that first letter in March, just go online, use the code, and it will be 10 minutes and you're done.
So when we do receive these forms, when we do receive the option to use our phones, to use the internet, to read this paper form, what should we expect? What kind of process should we take? And for those who live, I live with my son. It's just my son and I. And he's only 4 years old, so he's not going to be able to fill out this form. I'll be able to do it. So when we receive the form, households that have multiple people, multiple adults in it, how should the census process be handled once that form arrives?
That's an awesome question, Harry. And I tell you, I'm glad you have a son. Congratulations.
Yep, thank you.
Please do not forget to include your son, because
I won't.
And you will not forget. I'm sure.
won't.
You will not forget. I'm happy about that, because most parents do forget. I mean, I want you to know this. Our largest undercount every 10 years is the 0 to 4 population. Kids.
My son's 4. Yeah.
Your son is 4. So I am extremely happy that you brought that issue up, because we want to remind parents, right, to make sure to include our kids in the questionnaire, in the form. And by the way, because of that, because we understand that parents, for whatever reason, I have no idea, forget to include their children or their kids in the questionnaire, we're actually, in the form itself, we're going to include a statement stating, please parents, do not forget to include your kids, because of that particular issue. So we are working very hard on that. Now, it is very important. Let me go back. I want people to understand that you might think that the census is a population census or people census. Actually, and that's just me, I believe it's just a household census. Because as an individual, you will not get a letter from the Census Bureau. Your household will get a letter. The letter will not have your name on it.
It won't be addressed to Harry Freeman or Sergio Polanco. It'll be addressed to
the house.
A number, a street name.
Okay.
Exactly. So please don't think it's junk mail. Don't just look at it. Census Bureau doesn't have a name. Throw it in the trash. Please don't do that, because that could be a problem. People might think, oh, this is just junk mail. Let me just throw it away. No, we don't want you to do that. Understand this is important information. We want you to open it. But more importantly, it is not just for you. You have to include everyone who lives in your household, regardless if they are related to you or not. There is space on the form where you will be able to indicate is that individual is related to you or not. But please include everyone, and understand that when you get that letter, you have to include everyone in the household, because the other individuals who live in the household are not getting a letter for them. That letter is the only letter that is going to the household, other than the letter reminding you, please don't forget to do it, right?
Yes, definitely.
It's one letter, one code for the household.
Great. This definitely it's a lot of information for us and a lot of information for our community in regards to the census, as it's very important. My next question, I just have to take a break, but I just let you thinking about. My information is confidential. Think about the answer. We got a break, and we will be back.
We're the Census Bureau. We measure America. So if you receive a survey from the Census Bureau, please participate right away. Your community is counting on you.
Welcome again. We are here with the census topic. And back to my question. What about confidentiality? Is my information is saved? I mean,
thank you for that question, Sergio. Listen, by law, or let me put it this way, it is against the law for the census to release your information to anyone or share your information with anyone. We cannot share anything that can identify you as being you. That means your name or your household. We do not do that. And people need to understand that. There are penalties, Title 13 of the U.S. Code. There are penalties, and we're talking about up to 5 years in jail and about $250,000 in fines for anyone who violates the confidentiality clause. This is critical and is important. The information that we release to the public is aggregated data, not microdata. By microdata, I mean we do not release names, date of birth, etc. The only thing we do is release numbers for the city of Annapolis, for Arundel County, but nothing that identifies you as an individual. We do not do that. It's prohibited by law. So we have not had an issue with when it comes to confidentiality. We take that very seriously because we understand that people participate in the census because they trust that their information will be kept confidential. The moment that we share the information with other agencies, federal agencies or non-federal agencies, or people lose the trust in the census, then people will not participate in the census. Therefore, we take this issue very seriously, and no matter who wants the data, we do not release your personal information to anyone. And this is important. And again, when we talk about information, what type of information do we ask in the questionnaire, right?
Right.
First of all, we do not ask for your social security number. That information we do not ask for and we do not need it. What we ask for is your name, we ask for your date of birth, right? And we ask for your phone number. And we ask for your phone number just in case you forget to answer a question. We can call you back and say, hey, you forgot to answer a question. Would you like to, answer that question? That's why we ask for the phone number. And we do not share that phone number with anyone for any reason, no matter what.
Okay.
That information does not go anywhere. Okay. I know like Google and Facebook, they do share information. We do not do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Excellent.
Right. That's important. And then we also ask about your race and ethnicity, your nationality. And by the way, in this time around, you will be able to self-identify yourself, right? You can actually, in the questionnaire, if you are Hispanic Latino, you can also include where you're from. I mean, what part of Latin American you are. You can name your country, right?
Not that's just a new feature?
That's a new feature that you can do this time around. So, if somebody is, let's say, European, they can actually, this time around for the first time, they can actually say, I'm Irish, I'm European, or white, right? But then they can also include, I'm from Ireland, right? African Americans the same. You can say I'm African American, I'm black, and then you can name your country of origin or your ancestors if you want to do that. Because people have asked, we want to be able to do that, those things, and now for the first time you have that opportunity. And then of course you have an opportunity to list everyone who lives in your household. That is important. You put their name and date of birth. And again, you can rest assured that every information that you provide to the Census Bureau, it is confidential. We do not share that information with any agency. We never had an issue, and we do not anticipate having any issues with sharing information with any agency. No government agency has access to this information.
Great, thank you, because that's one of the main questions that people they do. I believe this is going to be happening is why I have to answer this question? Why I have to answer the census?
That is an excellent question. Again, first of all, it is your civic duty, right? It's your civic responsibility as a person who lives here in the United States of America. This is a very simple thing because this is how your local government, this is how the state government, this is how the federal government make decisions. So you want to help your community make good decisions, right? And by participating in the census, number one, it is your civic duty. And I believe that all of us want to be good citizens. We want to be great Americans. And you do that by getting engaged in our civic responsibility and our civic duties and doing the things that will make this nation better and better. So this is why we want you to participate. Just, I will say one thing only. I mean, I can go talk about the other issues in a few minutes, but it is your civic responsibility, right? It is something that the Constitution asks us to do. And I think it is important for us to take this responsibility, no matter who you are, no matter where you came from, no matter if you were born here or not. Something very simple. Take 10 minutes of your time to complete a questionnaire that will help your community, that will help this country, that will help the state, that will help the county, that will help your city. That is important.
Thank you.
Excellent points.
Excellent point.
Yeah, excellent points. So you're mentioning, our civic duty, helping the country, helping our state, our county, our local areas. What sort of benefits will we receive once we complete our census? Once we've turned in, either mailed in or on the phone or online, once we've completed this, what sort of benefits can we see on the back end of participation?
I am glad you asked that question, Harry, because I think one of the obstacles or barriers that I see in people maybe not wanting to answer the census is the fact that they have no idea how answering the questions, right, or completing the census form benefits them directly. How does it benefit my community by participating,
Right.
I always tell people, look, and I don't think it's an issue of fear, honestly, when it comes to the census, because regardless if you're undocumented or not, regardless if you're a U.S. citizen or not, I mean, everyone, I will say the majority of Americans, they do their taxes, right? And let us be honest here.
Yeah.
The IRS asks you for more information about you than the census does. And I've never heard anyone complain like, oh my gosh, my privacy with the census, right? I mean, with the IRS, they're happy to do it.
Right.
They're happy to do it because they are expecting something in return. They know that when they do their taxes, they're gonna get some money back. Usually, you know, poor individuals, they get money back, child credit and all that stuff. So fear is not a factor in that equation, right? So, and your question is so important, Harry, because I think the reason why people are hesitant to participate in the census is not so much that they are afraid or that they are concerned with their privacy. I think it's the fact that they don't understand it. They don't know how the census benefit them and their families. But let me give you some ideas, Harry, how the census benefit our community, how the census benefits this county, and also how that money, I remember at the beginning I said that about $675 billion are distributed every year.
Annually,
not
yes.
every 10 years, annually distributed, you know, for state, the federal government distributes to different states and to the counties to provide services to your community. Now let me give you an example, okay? Title I grants to local education agencies, $13.9 billion. $13.9 billion annually go to Title I grants to local education agencies. Special education grants, $11.2 billion annually. Head Start program, $8.3 billion annually. Child Care and Development Fund, $2.9 billion. SNAP, which is the program that funds, you know, like food stamps and all of those programs, $69.5 billion goes to that program. National School Lunch Program, that's the free lunch program, kids that cannot afford having lunch in school, the free lunch program, $11.6 billion. Medicaid, $312 billion every year goes to Medicaid based on the census figures. And one more. Section 8 housing, $19.1 billion. So anyone, if you know someone, there's a bunch of other programs, by the way. This is just a short list of some of the programs, how we benefit the community, how we benefit individuals, you know. All this money is allocated based on census numbers. And this is why it is important. So if you in the community, if you know, people that work in community agencies, social service agencies, these are people that understand how important this funding is, how important the count is. And they are some of the people that are fighting really hard to ensure that everyone is counted. We talk about schools, hospitals, you know, police departments, emergency services. All those funding are allocated based on census numbers. So this is why it's so critical. This is why it's so important that you are counted in this county, that everyone who lives in this county is counted, and you include everyone. And when you do your census, you complete your form in March of 2020, once you're done with your form, ask your neighbors, ask your friends, hey, did you get the census form? Did you complete it? If they say no, I said, don't worry about it. Just go online. Here's the website. Go online and do it. Again, it's safe and secure, and perhaps we'll talk more about cybersecurity in a second. But I got to tell you, it's safe, it's secure. Go do it. Go online.
You know, that makes so that makes incredible sense. If the government doesn't know you're here, how can we provide services to you?
Exactly right.
And not just financially or monetarily, but you mentioned police and fire. Can you imagine if we don't know how many people live in a certain district or in a certain city or in a certain county? How can we properly have a functioning police force that can appropriately get to each person's house in a timely manner to help with crime or a fire? You know, we need to have a public safety ratio to our population. Those are excellent points. Hospitals you mentioned. Yes. We have overcrowding in schools.
Yes, that's a huge issue.
If we don't know you're here, you know, how can we properly provide these services to you? Excellent answer. Thank you, Daniel.
Great. Then another question is, if I told everyone in my house, don't open the door to strangers, don't open the door for anybody. Example, I let my kids there, or you know, what you hear in your neighborhood sometimes. So what we expecting from the census specialists coming to my door? Do they come with the tag? They introduce themselves? How we identify a census representative?
Okay, look, what I'm going to tell you, audience, is if you want to avoid having someone come into your house, just go online and do it. You know, that's the first thing. If you do it online, you don't have to worry about anyone knocking on your door.
I like to
okay?
hear that.
But I'm still going to answer your question because it is important. As you know, we have a lot of people that usually do not answer the census anyways, right? That's why we have a non-response follow-up. That's why we hire a lot of people to go knock on door. And by the way, we have jobs. Please come and apply to the Census Bureau. We need people to go knock on doors. So the census, we're going to do a couple of things. Number one, once that time comes, when the non-response follow-up, when we send people out into the communities, we'll work closely with the local police departments. We will send a letter to the police department making them aware that we have individuals that work for the Census Bureau work in their community, right?
Okay.
So that people might call and say, hey, somebody's working in my neighborhood, I don't know who these people are. So the police department will be aware that we have census workers in the field at the right time, when that time comes, number one. Secondly, the census worker will have an identification and ID carrying with them, right? And you can ask for the ID, identification, and if you are not happy with that, you can ask for a phone number. They should be able to provide you with a number that you can call to verify that that person is who he or she says he or she is, right? Okay. So these are 3 ways that you can actually, if you're not comfortable, right, just ask for a number, or you can call us, and then we'll let you know. So yeah, this person is who this person is, and it's okay. But you can always you see the ID, and they have usually a laptop or a computer with the Census Bureau tag on it, a bag that says Census Bureau with them, and lastly, you can always call us and to verify that individual.
Great question. I think it's very important for the community to know about, and also mention that opportunity that the census has for those is a phone number that they can call on. It's a website that they can looking for jobs.
Yes. And by the jobs pay very well. And let me just say, you do not have to quit your day job. Okay, you can keep your day job and work for the Census Bureau because most of our jobs are from home. You can work from home. Yeah. And we provide you training, paid training, and all that stuff, right? But the website is www.2020census.gov/jobs.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's going to be on the screen. Excellent. Right now you go online. We do not take resumes. Everything is done online. You have to go online and do it, and we'll call you and offer you a job, right? You've got to, obviously, it's government job, so there will be a light, background check. There will be a background check done on each individual, so that, to make sure that the person is able to work for the Census Bureau. We ask everyone to go online and complete the census form. I mean, not the census form. We're so excited about the census form, right? But we want people to work for the census. And one of the things that we do to ensure that people participate, we'll hire people from their communities, right? Whatever you are, we hire you. If you're a trusted individual in your community, we want people to know who you are. We want to make sure that we count everyone in your community. And the best way to do that is also by you coming to work for the Census Bureau. And again, I want to mention one last thing in terms of security and the fact that your information is secured. We're talking about social media, the internet. Right. I want each person to know that the moment that you log on into our census server, at our website, you go online to complete a census form, all the information will be encrypted. So it is secretly secured, and no one can see your actual name. The moment it's transmitted, the moment you log on to our server, it's encrypted, everything. So it is safe and secure. I want you to understand that. It doesn't matter if you go to a library, if you do it from home, no matter where you do it from. The moment you connect with our server, you're fine. That's important for you to know.
Great. Talking about the census and all these topics are very important. We got a special message for you. Please check this message. We will be back.
An accurate decennial census is essential for anyone to get a reliable picture of child, family, and community well-being across the country. it's also essential for the millions of young people and families whose well-being and opportunities in life are often bolstered by public programs.
Children 0 to 4 are at the greatest risk of being undercounted, and many programs that support families, young children, and communities depend upon an accurate count.
So when we undercount ourselves, or we don't remember to count our 4-year-old or our 2-year-old, then we're not giving them the political voice and the political power they need to make sure that they get a fantastic education because they're getting the right amount of money going back into their districts.
Looking for a temporary job? The U.S. Census Bureau is hiring thousands of temporary workers across the country to support the 2020 census. To apply online, go to 2020census.gov/jobs or call 1-855-562-2020.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Sergio and I want to thank Daniel for answering a lot of questions. We still have a few more questions to ask you. We just came off the topic of safety and security, options on how to fill out the census. We made some pretty broad strokes at the census process. Let's get a little more detailed here. So I have friends that are going to be welcoming a baby soon, and they just found out this news. And what if the due date is around census time, but by April 1st, we don't know what to do. So for this example, what happens in that situation for newborns? Does the newborn get counted? If you're still pregnant during April 1st, do you wait another 10 years to count? So walk us through some of these more specific things that a lot of households can experience.
Yeah, that's a good question. So let me go constitutionally on you here.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Let's go first through that side.
Let's go constitutionally. So obviously, the idea is to count everyone who is physically in the United States, right, of America on April 1st, 2020. So if the baby hasn't quite come out yet, then chances are we're going to have to wait for the 2030 census for that family. Now, if it's not born on April 1st, but it's more after April 1st, I mean, remember, we'll be working on this like May. Obviously, the non-response follow-up begins in May. So the baby has to be born, has to be an actual, an actual live human that is out of the belly of the mom, in order for us to be able to count it. But that's a very interesting question, actually. I like that question because people, I'm sure, are debating that. I mean, the baby is coming out any minute now. What do I do? Can I just say, hey, obviously you're going to be born in a few days, let's just do it? The answer is the baby has to be physically be born, not projected to be born. And so before we can, and otherwise you got to wait 10 years.
So it's a report from the hospitals that midnight before how many babies born at 11:58? It's a question. It's just a,
look,
I don't know.
Yeah, it has to, while we're doing the count, the baby has to be counted. Once we're done with the count, even if it's in 2020, remember, because by December 31st, we got to present this data, these numbers to the President of the United States, right? So means we got to be finished way before then in order for us to be able to have those numbers ready.
Right.
So the baby has to be born during the time that we're conducting the census.
Great.
If he's born after that, again, 2030 will be right there.
So April 1st is that like deadline? So physical live persons on April 1st should be counted. Because I'm like, I guess a follow-up would be, can you amend your submission? If you submit something online through the telephone or by mail, and you're like, well, I'm having somebody just moved in with me, or I have a roommate, or I have a child that's shortly after. Can you amend?
No, you can still be counted. Well, see, April 1st is just our push day, which means like we want you to have it in, it's like a big push, have everybody submit their information by then. But can you still have time after that to do it? So you still can do it after April 1st. Because again, remember that logically, honestly, you have like until May 12th. Or 2020 to do it, because then after May 12th is then when we knock on doors, right?
see. Part of the timeline you presented
even
earlier.
even if you have not done it by April 1st, whatever, we still get you after May 12th, right? The only thing, because somebody will come to your house to get the information. We're not letting you go. We're coming after you.
Definitely.
Well, we're getting that information.
Yes.
So yes, the truth is, yes, you still have a chance to do it.
Excellent.
If you don't get it in, that means we'll send someone to get it, coming to your house to get it. Not to you, because I know you'll get that. The first letter you get, you'll be done, Harry. I know that.
I'm kind of responsible for doing that. So absolutely, you bet you'll be the first I contact once I get that information.
Yeah. Now, what communities they are hard to reach? If we are talking about the outreach and try to help everyone, try to send this voice for.
Something that I hear a lot of time people think when we talk about hard to count populations, the first thing they think about is, let's say, blacks, Hispanics, Asian Americans. They put it into a racial category. And I gotta tell you, as I look at the numbers and I look our hard to count populations, I truly believe that poverty, right, is a greater indicator of the people who's gonna answer the census or not than race and ethnicity, really. I think socioeconomic status is a bigger factor from what I've seen than your race and ethnicity, really. What I mean by that is if you're poor, and not only if you're poor, but if you're poor and you live in apartments, you're definitely hard to count. Poor individuals, regardless if you're white, black, yellow, brown, no matter what color you are, it will be difficult to count you. So we want to make sure that we focus on those individuals. And it's not because they're lazy or that they do not, I don't want to say they do not care about the census. It is the fact that those poor individuals have so many issues to worry about. I mean, they're just surviving.
That's totally understandable.
They're just trying to survive today, And we mentioned earlier, that the census is our civic responsibility, right? So when you're poor, I mean, you're only worrying about what are you going to eat today and tomorrow. The truth is, it's very difficult to worry about civic engagement when your situation is so critical, when you don't have, you cannot even afford to public transportation. Sometimes you don't even have money to take the bus or put gas in the car, those issues become a priority to you. So we have to understand why they don't do it and kind of reach out to them, knock on doors, talk to them, and help them understand that we understand their situation, but that also that this is important so that we can help their situation.
Right. I mean, you just you rattled off some excellent statistics on some of the benefits that affect some of the hard to count populations that Sergio just asked you about. So there really is a direct benefit to participating in this upcoming census. I mean, it truly affects everybody.
Exactly, and that is the message that we need to get out there, to this population, the hard to count population that Sergio is asking about. We have to tell them this is how this helps you and your community.
Right.
How they need to see tangible benefits. This is got to show them something tangible. This is critical, and I think if we're able to do that, they will be more than willing to participate. Right, in spite of their current situation and condition, and in spite of their poverty and the difficult times that they're going through, if we're able to communicate to them why this is important, or simply just explain to them what the census is. I mean, remember, this population sometimes does not even know what the census is, right? So a lot of times...
I've learned a lot about what the census is just through this conversation, so thank you.
And we sometimes expect people that have no idea what the census is to complete a form. Let us be honest, I wouldn't complete a form for anything unless I knew what it is. Or no, you wouldn't do it, yet we expect those individuals to do it. Why would they do it? They don't understand why they're doing it. So let's be logical about this. So we got to figure out a way to educate them and tell them, this is why you're doing this. This is why it is important. This is why this will help you and your family.
What is the plan?
The plan, you have a plan, Harry, you have a plan.
I do.
Have a plan for this community. Look, we have, this county, Arundel County, has a complete count committee. And that complete count committee, on behalf of the Census Bureau, Harry, thank you so much for the work you're doing to ensure that there is an accurate count in Arundel County. And the complete count committee that you guys have is great, is excellent. A lot of energy there.
Yes, sir.
And thanks to your leadership, of course, thank you. And we want to make sure that, and this is something that we want done nationally, right? But the Complete Count Committee, and Harry perhaps can talk about it in a few seconds,
Sure.
is what drives the efforts. Right? The Complete Count Committee determines where the hard-to-count populations are, and they come up with a plan. How do we reach those individuals? Do we need to work with the libraries to provide computers? All those things, and I'm going to turn, you know what, let me be quiet. Let me let Harry talk, okay? Harry, come on. Talk about what you guys are doing.
So I'm speaking on behalf of what the county is doing is we
Oh, can I give a shout out to Sharon Bluegees?
I was just about to do that.
You want to do that?
absolutely.
Because she's
Oh,
great.
no,
Thank you
please.
so much.
Yeah,
I want to
Sharon
thank her for her
Bluegees-
effort. I met her some time ago, and she just took over, and she's begun moving
Sharon.
and doing an excellent job. So, Sharon,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for the work you do.
Sharon is our government lead. She is my direct mouthpiece to the folks in Anne Arundel County. On April 1st, you were part of the ceremony. You two were there. County Executive Pittman appointed me officially as the chair of the Complete Count Committee. And what we've done is we've compiled a group of experts, a group of experienced individuals in the county who understand all the services that the county provides. All of these hard to count and hard to capture areas that are in this county. And what we're doing is we're checking things off one by one of how we can get everyone to participate, how we build a sense of trust in the community to understand that this is a safe, a secure, a confidential, by law it is confidential, that we need to maximize participation, maximize the potential for benefits through some of the things that you've answered with your statistics. We have to inspire, motivate people to participate so we can get an accurate count of who is in this county, who uses the services that we're providing, and where we can go from there. Every 10 years we're doing this, so we need to make sure that for 10 years we have a solid idea where we can project what we want to do next. How can we improve on these systems? How can we improve on these programs, on these social programs? Where can we, shift funding from one area to another to make sure that we're taking care of every single person? Everybody counting has become part of our slogan for the census.
So that's
everyone
awesome.
counts.
Everyone counts.
And
That's great.
And as we internalize that everyone counts, we can move forward not just as individuals. We can move forward as a county. We can move forward as a community. Now, the efforts that we're doing in Anne Arundel County, how does that translate to what maybe the state is doing or how other counties are doing? Is there certainly it's not a race, it's not a competition, but certainly we want to maximize
I got to
participation.
tell you, though, it is a competition, so get ready. It's a competition.
Oh, well, believe me, we have our goals.
Yeah,
we have our goals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carroll County was #1 in 2010, Carroll County, and they're ready to become #1 again. They're really...
Let's
so you got to
we'll
watch
see
your
about
back.
that. But what I'm trying to say is, at the county level, how is that translating to what the state of Maryland is doing? And how is what the state of Maryland doing, how does that translate to what folks in your offices are doing at the national level?
Right.
This really is one message
That is
to get
correct.
people to move, but is there any difference in approach to how we're inspiring and motivating people to participate? Is there a different approach, or is
I
it
think
one message?
It's just one message. Obviously, each community tailored their message to their particular community in terms of how they want to reach their people, right? The state has a message which means they want to reach out to the entire state, right? The county has a different message because you're looking at your community, at your local community only. You don't care about anybody else, right? You care about people who live in this county, while the state will look at the big picture, which is I want to make sure that every county has something going, right? So we at the Census Bureau, we work with the state, and we also work directly with every county. We go directly to the counties, directly to the state, and we work and say, hey, let's work together, push. Our only interest is to count everyone once and at the right place. And that's our only goal of the census. So we want everyone, there are different messages in terms of, because what might work here in this county might not work in another county. So everyone has to come up with their messages. Whatever works for you, that's what matters. The bottom line is this: all this work you're doing, all these meetings that you have to go to, I'm not going to say some of the stuff you told me already, but all the stuff you're doing, I got to tell you, it's for one reason and one reason only: to get people in this county to go online and complete the census form. That is it. That's the list. That's all what that's all we are trying to do. There's no other agenda, there's no other goals. That is the only goal of all your efforts. Get people to get online and complete the census form. That's it.
So the same message that we're sending as a committee
Yes,
to the
definitely.
people of Anne Arundel County, those who call this county home, is the same message that the state of Maryland is sending to all Marylanders. And it's the same message that folks in your offices at the national level are sending to all 50 states and beyond, actually, correct?
Yes.
So we want to make sure that everyone counts. We've adopted that as our slogan. We are going to be moving forward with this, and I'm excited to
Yes.
get these numbers in for the county, for the state, for the country.
Yeah, and the census is here. I got to tell you,
Yeah,
it's here already. I mean, it
Definitely.
is here. We begin again January 22nd. We begin the count. Really,
Yeah,
you know.
we're so excited about it. We're
I'm
so
excited.
excited about all
This
the
is
meetings.
fun. It's
that
going to be great.
We are
We
planning.
after we come and celebrate. You know, we throw
Oh,
a
yeah.
party
Yeah,
and
and we'll invite
celebrate.
you all.
Definitely. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome to celebrate with us. The census is here, especially North County, South County, that places where people need more transportation, people need more services, people need more access to different agencies and different services around the area. We need that services there. But the only way that we can have there is be a part of the census. Talk to your neighbor, ask to your neighbor. Make sure we got everybody needs to be part of the census. And thank you so much, Daniel, for
Thank you,
being part
Daniel.
of this interview, of being part of this program. Basically, is for us the key for our next step as a committee in the Anne Arundel County.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Harry. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Sergio.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here. I appreciate it very much. I enjoy myself here. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for the work you're doing again. And go in Arundel County, #1. Let's go.
Thank you very much for your help.
course.
And thank you for everything that you need you give us for the community as a driver of the bus and the census for us is Harry is a great person and is a great leader. So that's why.
This is my county too.
Thank you.
So-
Yeah, it's our county, it's our community, and this is all about us. It's all about our community, and what the slogan is:
Everyone counts.
everybody counts, right?
That's right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of Bienvenidos, and we will be back soon.
Can one girl in a small town, an architect in a major city, and a suburban high school coach shape the future of the United States? Yes, they can. Because every 10 years, the census gives us that power. You can shape your future by responding to the 2020 census. Where do we need new roads to make our lives easier? Where will new school programs help our children thrive? Where could a new health clinic benefit neighborhoods? The 2020 census will inform these decisions and shape how billions of dollars will be distributed to communities like yours each year. And in 2020, you can respond to the census online, by phone, or by mail. It's easy, safe, and important. Make sure you and everyone you know is counted. Now is the time for you to get involved. Your community needs you. Together, we can educate and excite, inspire and make sure every voice is heard. Together, we can shape our future.